Hey guys, we got some old stuff, some new stuff. Stirling Boar, continuing on with the Boarathon. This one I recently just pulled out about 20 hairs from, the blocky ones that end and are pretty stiff, and I believe maybe they are that way because they've been turned around and the soft tip, the thin tip part is down connected to the knot. It's been soaking for several minutes. We'll see as there are lots of those hairs in there, stiff hairs. We'll see as I pick through it, take a few out before each shave, see how that changes the feel of this brush, because he's scrubby, not prickly per se, but not comfortable, and definitely can generate some brush burn if I'm using a razor that's maybe a little rough for my skin, making me a little tender. That brush can kind of stir up some irritation. This is the Wolfman Geurilla, and it's the open comb. I managed to find an open comb version. I did buy, back when it came out, directly from Wolfman, the closed comb version. I didn't realize that it would be shut down pretty soon thereafter. Production of it would be shut down because he got so much negative review. I think he didn't market it right. I think there was some ignorance there with the public. The shaving public didn't know that it was a mild razor, and so they were getting this Wolfman product, and so many of them were expecting or hoping or used to something with a little bit more aggression to it, or maybe a lot more. And so then they were, of course, disappointed. But I really like the solid bar. The open comb is likely to be a little more aggressive, and I'm sure that's going to put it in a nice place for me. I'm going to use it with my Nacet today. And today is 234, I believe. Yep. Use number 233 was yesterday, and today is going to be 234. It is a mild razor, and often a mild razor is not a good worker for old used blades that have been smoothed out. But this is an open comb. That means it's probably just a little bit, or to some degree, a little bit more aggressive than, or efficient than, the solid bar version. I know that in the case of the Timeless 68 gap, the solid bar version is smooth as silk. The open comb is almost too harsh for me to use. For new younger blades, it is too harsh for me to actually use at all. I have to have smoother, older blades in it, and then it does well. And so in that sense, in that example, the difference between solid bar and open comb is quite severe. Ultra silky smooth, so rough I can't use it. Just about everything else is different. Like closer, like the carve solid bar versus the open comb. Like Chris says, one level up. So a B open comb probably feels in the same aggression family as the C solid bar, and vice versa. And so that's just one level. So that's much different than the Timeless. And that is what I would guess I'll be experiencing from the Wolfman here. All right, well, you saw this. This is my first use of the Fine Aquamarine. I found a set of it used. I do have the aftershave splash as well. They did produce this a little differently than their usual stuff. They did it in conjunction with West Coast Shaving. Maybe they were West Coast gave them a discount on the cost of manufacture, or some kind of deal where it was advantageous for both companies. I do have, this is the only fine soap that I have in their plastic tub, so I'm experiencing that for the first time. We do have a little bit of water on top of the puck that's been there for several minutes now. And just a reminder, here's here are the markings for this marathon blade. We have the 2 legs of the X right there, and then 3 dots that I put on there quite a while back. Also, you can see where I dropped it and kind of bent it a little bit. It does seem to be still workable. Let's just see how it is handled by the Wolfman. This is a chunky, fat handle. It is hollow, but it's stainless steel and it's still quite heavy. The markings there, I put toward the handle. That is a little tweak, a little experiment that I've always done, except for use number about 225. I forgot. And, well, I didn't forget, but I thought that I was doing it right, but it was a TTO. And with this kind of 3-piece, I can hold it in the top cap and show you, see there's the markings. And so with the TTO, I can't point it at you and show you the markings because the markings should be pointed at the handle. And I'd forgotten about that because it had been quite a while since I used the Nacet. All right, well, one of the great things about paying a lot of money for a precision razor like this is that it just clamps down on the blade all the way down, very close to the end. So you shouldn't hear too much sound. Let's see, how does it look in terms of, it does appear to be a positive exposure. So, all right. All right, I think we're good to go. Let's put some water on my face. I do have that little neck rash, so I'm going to be putting some of my ointment on that after the shave. It's lessened a little bit sometimes. I just finished scratching it. I took my t-shirt up and I scratch it through the t-shirt. That way it's less likely to cause damage. Okay, now that we're ready to load, I'm going to pour off the slurry water. And there was some good stuff that just went down the drain, but next time maybe. All right, I'm going to shake off a lot of the water. We're going to do a 20-second load. I did a 25-second or 30-second load last time with Fine and with tons of soap. So let's just do a 20-second load this time. All right, we're starting at the 50. And that's 10 seconds. This is a pretty stiff boar brush, so maybe 15 is all I need to do. I'll probably have tons of lather. And there we go. That's 20 seconds right there. So we'll put that in the bowl, and then let's clean this up. This is my first time trying the plastic tubs from Fine. And when they're separated, when the top is off, it kind of feels flimsy. It is smaller than like a Stirling tub, but this is a triple milled soap, and so it's concentrated. So it's going to last you probably just as long or longer as a Stirling soap. And but when you screw the top cap onto it, and you can kind of see it does flex fairly easily. When you do secure the top cap on there, it does become more rigid. All right. Face is wet. Dollar Tree Santa Fe lather bowl from Norfolk Pottery, Norfolk something. All right, $1. Good lather bowl for $1. I'm really enjoying it. So the Aquamarine, they list it as a relaxing green aquatic. the idea of, you know, relaxing at the seaside under a warm sun, being treated to the sounds of the surf is kind of how they're describing it. It has several notes in it: lemon, sweet orange, rosemary, algae, oak moss, driftwood, amber, and musk. Now look, we're looking pretty concentraty right now. That's just fine. Let us take some water. And add it in. So, amber, really? Not really picking up too much on the amber. Maybe it's just to level it out a little bit. Yeah, I could see having some driftwood in there. Rosemary. That one's very light. If that's there, it's hard for me to pick up at least. And then lemon and sweet orange, so we have some citrus in there. Yeah, I was able to pick out the orange. If I thought about it for a while, I think I would be able to get that from it. Maybe the lemon as well. I definitely think I should be able to pick out, even without knowing, that there was some citrus in there. So it's not a heavy scent. It's one of the reasons I didn't immediately buy it when it was released recently. I was just getting the reports that it was a light scent that, you know, people were liking, but I just figured I'd wait. But then somebody contacted me, and I did put out a want to buy, because I thought, hey, if somebody is out there and just wants to have, they've tried it a couple times and now they want to, you know, maybe they doesn't float their boat. Some of that water I just added overflowed out of the bowl because I stirred my brush too quickly. Yeah, it's a quiet scent. It's not jumping out. I don't believe much of it is coming up to my nose as I'm mixing into the bowl here. So I do have the aftershave, and this is my first full bottle of a fine aftershave. Now, I understand that they used to be more well respected than they are now. They're kind of expensive. For the same quantity of product, you can buy a Stirling aftershave, Stirling Splash, for like $7 less, something like that, and get the same quantity. And I believe it was Buzz, who's a viewer, and he was telling me that he finds that the Stirling has better staying power. It lasts longer. And so for him, the fine aftershaves are less attractive. They do have a little bit of menthol, so I'm curious about that. I did get some testers, some samples of some fine aftershaves, and that did not bother me. I did splash this on my face a couple days ago just to see how it would act, and it did not bother me in terms of the menthol, so I'm very encouraged. That's actually the main reason that I have avoided buying any of the fine trying any of the fine aftershaves, is because they said it had menthol, and I've experienced very few aftershave splashes that say they have menthol to where it's light enough to where I will still enjoy it. But this could be the case. So we'll splash it on, and then I'll try to splash it on in the morning too, because obviously I'm going to go, my night shaver here, I'm going to go to bed, and I'm not going to be able to tell how it smells and when it quits working and all that. Still kind of firm, as you can see. Look at those contours right there, the lines and stuff. So I think I'm going to keep adding water. This is just an exceptional soap base. to me, it rivals even the top tier like Barrister and Mann and Declaration Grooming, Noble Otter, Holy Cow, those guys. It's just slickness is just top notch. It resembles the performance of Tabac, which is a well-regarded soap. The only problem that people have with Tabac is the scent. It's kind of, people say it smells like grandma's purse. There is this deeper kind of tobacco scent that I can enjoy, and so I do enjoy Tabac. But it definitely has kind of a powdery front to it that I can see why puts people off. I can definitely see. Oh yeah, we've got tons of lather. It's kind of looking skimpy at first, but just because we didn't add water yet. So I've got 4 teaspoons of water in it, I believe. I don't think I've just put 2. So I think this is number 5. Maybe 15 seconds is, what I should have done. But now let's take let me get a good mix. Probably got some wet spots now since I just added the water. Yeah, I'm picking up on the musk and maybe the driftwood. Nice. Rosemary is not dominant, and so I got a feeling it's doing some nice things to mature the scent. I added a little bit of savory spiciness to it. It's not a strong scent, that's for sure. Now look at the texture. Now we are kind of holding our peaks up there. And so it's possible it might need some more water. Let me just make sure I have a good mix here. I think I might just use this. So they announced today the Lather Games schedule. If you're a regular viewer of longer than a year, then you saw me participate last year in the Lather Games. And I was so disappointed that I won absolutely nothing. About 100 people participated. 19 people got some of the prizes. So that means I was 80% or lower in terms of my score. And I had a different shave set every day. I didn't use the same blade. I used a different razor every day as well. Used different soap and aftershave and brush even. So in terms of variety, I should have gotten maximum points. But the one thing was I didn't spend a whole lot of time with insightful write-ups. And I believe that is really where you're going to get some of the bonus points. Whether it's humor, whether you're just doing funny posts that really get people going, whether it's serious stuff about analytical things about the scent. Some people did some really cool write-ups about the fragrances that they were using. And then there were some bonus points given out for using the right soap soap vendor's soap on a certain themed day. And that tripped up me. I lost some points because, like, for instance, there was one that said a woodsy or holiday scent, but then the vendor day was Siliski soaps, and they really only have one. And so there were about half a dozen situations like that where there was really only 1 or 2 soaps that fit the bill. So it was really kind of a restraining schedule. I didn't really like that very much. And they wisely took that out. Apparently other people didn't like it either. So they took that part out. They listed the vendors and you can put them in whatever order you want. So I'm going to try again this year. But what I really enjoy is just talking with the guys, and because it's a theme, then everybody's using something. So everybody's using a barber shop on one particular day, or Everybody's using something that with vetiver on one particular day. And so then you can really have some good conversation because there's so much common ground. Then, of course, there's the craziness with people who are trying to be funny or just ranting and that sort of thing. And that's there's an entertainment value there as well. Well, the reason I bring it up, it's the month of June. And I have been honored. I have been given a day. And I am quite honored. I didn't see it coming. I just got notified about it today because they let me know about it before they released the calendar and the schedule. June 1st is Sugar Daddy Appreciation Day. And it's a day where you need to shave with a floral soap. And so it's a little tongue-in-cheek because the reason it's on the calendar is because I am well known for my disdain for floral soaps, floral scents. So that's the trick. You got to find a floral soap and shave with it on June 1st. So I'll do that too. So that'll be a hoot. And then when one of the organizers told me about it, gave me the heads up before it went public, I said, he didn't tell me what the theme for that day was. So I sent back, what? Are you going to make people use a syringe and a bowl that day? Are you going to, is it going to be, where you, anything but florals? Turned out I kind of nailed it on the head with that guess. Or I said also the third one, there's three things that I told him. I said, are you going to use a blade that's way past its prime? And sure enough, I think what he did was he liked those ideas. And maybe he got with his team or whatever. And for that daily challenge, there are theme days. So the theme for that day is a floral soap. But then the daily challenge is going to be something that's announced almost on the same day or maybe the night before or something like that. It's not something you know in the beginning except for this one day. And the challenge is to use a bowl to accurately measure how much water you're using with a syringe or something else. And then to use a blade that's past its prime. And that was hilarious. The challenge is not to use the floral soap because that's part of the day, theme of the day. So the two things, the bowl and syringe, and then using an old blade. And so that'll be hilarious. I have been grinning all day ever since I got the news. So that's really pretty cool. So if you want to participate in the Lather Games, it starts June 1st, and it goes the whole month. And the cool thing is, and that challenge, but let me say this, it's optional, totally optional. If guys hate using a bowl or whatever, they can just skip it. Maybe you won't get a bonus point or something like that, but it is optional. And the thing is, if you only have 2 soaps in your collection, you can play because those soaps are going to match up to 1, 2, maybe 3 of the days. And you can participate in the conversations. You can enjoy the humor. You can even do some trash talking yourself or whatever you want to do. And it's a lot of fun. It wasn't really fun for me last year at the end when I didn't win anything and I'd worked so hard organizing, my schedule. Like on one day it said, shave like dad. And so I used Williams soap, perhaps, an old soap. I also used the oldest razor I had. I tried to make even my blades and my razors match up to the theme. Well, anyway, and so I walked away with nothing. Well, I want to change my expectations this year and just enjoy it. I'm going to probably not be too picky about the razors that I pick, but I will be picky. I'll try to get a good schedule of the soap, try to hit the themes. I may have to find a couple of samples out there, like for soap vendors that I don't have. This year I have some Mammoth soaps, whereas last year I did not. And so that was tricky. But even if you only have one soap, there will be a sample trading or sample buying thread where you can get on there and request the empty spots to fill in your calendar and maybe just spend a few bucks instead of having to buy 30 different tubs of soap. Nobody wants to do that, right? And so you can just buy samples from either Maggard razors or from trade them with the guys on the thread, on the forum. So it's the wet shaving subreddit. Go to reddit.com if you want. Sign up for an account and go to wet shaving, the wet shaving forum on Reddit. And it's like reddit.com/r/wet shaving. Wet shaving doesn't have a space or an underscore between those two words. It's all together. So www.reddit.com/r/wet shaving. And so you can, I'm going to create a page with the appropriate links, and I'll stick that in some, we'll have some time to where if you want to be a participant, even if you only match 1 or 2 days out of the whole month, but you get in there and enjoy talking with people, it might be worth it for you. It really might. A lot of fun. And you learn stuff too. I've also let this sit on my face for a little while just to observe it. Look, it's not dissipating at all. It feels good. Feels light. I am able to smell it, but it's very faint. Maybe a 2 or 3 out of 10. We'll just have to see how that goes. All right, so first stroke with the open comb Wolfman. It is mild, and so I do not know how it's going to be with this old blade. Usually when I get to about 30 or 40 uses, I have to abandon the mild razors, but this is actually pretty comfy. Now hopefully it's not comfy like the Game Changer 84 was recently, because it was comfy because it wasn't really giving me a very good cut. Got to be careful of that little red spot down there. And I think I'm going to start submerging my blades in alcohol because June is a month and a half away from starting. I am at use number 234 today. I did the math with an Excel spreadsheet type thing. If I do not abandon the Nacet, I was about to stop maybe at 250 or something like that. But if I keep going with the Nacet and use it every day till June starts, and then keep using it through June, then on the 29th of June, I'm going to hit 300 uses. I don't know if it'll last that long, but if it is able to last that long, then I'll hit 300 uses during the Lather Games. Wouldn't that be pretty wild, huh? All right, let me rinse. Now, one of the judges said he didn't know. There's 3 judges. He didn't know with using such an old blade and the safety of that. He didn't know if that was going to be if the positives of that might outweigh the negatives or not. He's not quite sure. Now, while I am working this lather on my face here, I'm definitely getting a good jolt of the scent. With this brush, I think I maybe should have kept this lather a little thicker. But the good news is I've got a bowl. I can always just reach down there and get more. Okay, let's spread it around. This is a wet lather. Maybe I didn't squeeze out my goatee. I don't think I did. That could be drowning my lather. I'm going to do a with the grain again because I'm wondering how much stubble was actually removed. I felt a good bit of it still on my face. So we'll see how much is left after this pass. This is a very pleasant shave, feels good. Would be neat if this razor was a good one to use with this blade right now, because I do enjoy it a lot. You got good comfort. It's holding you. You're not really hearing very much, are you? Because of that clamping down so close to the edge of the razor blade. All right. All right, I do feel that we're reducing the beard. But usually with other razors, with more aggressive razors, this right now feels actually longer than I usually feel, even just after the first pass. You know, I might want some more lather, so you know what I might do? If this guy's a little too wet, let's go in there for just a couple of seconds. Come on now, I need your moisture there, Mr. Lather. We can add just a bit of water to the brush. See if we can get it to react with that extra, a little bit extra soap. All right. All right, third pass now. I'll go ahead and do cross grain now. Feels very comfy. This razor is not as nimble as many others because of the fat handle. Because you can't spin it around as easily. As you can with thinner handles, but I enjoy it. I definitely used my other Guerilla, the solid bar head, with some different handles to just kind of play around, because at first I didn't like the limiting factor of how thick it was, but now it just kind of feels right. Yeah, it's some good lather. Let's go ahead and do, so I've got 3 passes down. I'm definitely going to do 4 passes. Let's go ahead and do a cross grain section right here. Light touch. I'm not, as you've kind of heard me talk about it, you've heard me say that I'm not really getting the close cuts that I'm used to with the younger blades, and even with more aggressive razors with this old blade, but I'm not choosing to bear down more. More pressure is almost never the answer, at least for me. All right. Lather feels good. My face is not drying out or anything like that. This is a good soap. Yep. All right, let me do a little bit of rinsing. Oh, and another component of the Sugar Daddy Challenge on June 1st in the Lather Games is to do a good write-up, a well-formatted write-up, SOTD post, set of the day, that describes your soap and the experience and all the things that I write up. I paste it in the YouTube description as well, and I have it really well formatted because I'm a programmer, and I wrote a program to store all the pieces of data. And so it makes, once you're storing it in a database, it's really easy to take those pieces out and put it in whatever format you want. And so part of the app that I use to create my pastes, one does it in Reddit format, and another section does it in YouTube format. And so it looks all nice, and it took a while, took a lot of time to program it. But now that it's done, all I have to focus on is typing up. How did the lather feel? What kind of consistency does it have? I have different fields for how many teaspoons of soap I used, or did I load for a certain amount of time, the seconds and all that. All those pieces go into that whole post. And so that's part of the challenge as well, to do a well-formatted post and also do maybe even a video. Maybe extra points are given to people if they do a video, kind of like I do every day. All right, well, face feels really good. Let's just go ahead and do another pass. I definitely see some shadow, that's for sure. Okay, I already rinsed, so let's just go ahead and get at it. Not a whole lot of soap. Knowing that I had a mild razor, I should have maybe done a longer load because I don't have a lot of soap. I'll be careful not let any of it fling off. It's a nice scent. It really is. And it is, what does it say? A green aquatic. A relaxing green aquatic. Is it relaxing? Yeah, there are some green scents out there, and I'm really good. I paused for a moment because this is my last chance, unless I want to relather, reload and all that stuff. This is my last chance to get a good whiff of it and talk about it. So I'm really glad that it came upon me to remember that. It's definitely got some green notes to it, and it definitely has the aquatic twist on it too. So I am a fan. I was attracted to it a little bit because I like Acqua di Gio from Armani, and that is an aquatic in the aquatic family too. When you're working it on your face, you get a nice sense of it. And so then it's probably 5 out of 10, right in the middle range in terms of scent strength. Right now, when the air isn't moving around, when the brush isn't waving it around my nose, it's more down to the 3 out of 10 in terms of scent strength. But it is still present in the experience, and so I think it's not too faint for me. Definitely going to keep it around and keep using it, keep trying it out. It's like the fresh vetiver in the sense that it's a bit understated. It's definitely not going to be obnoxious and bother you. It's not punchy, bitter, anything like that, tart, none of that stuff. Some of those bergamot and orange type scents are geared toward zestiness and waking you up. Kind of like the Tre Matra that I tried recently from Southern Witchcrafts. It had a floral and it had a very zesty freshness to it that wasn't quite as good for nighttime shavers, This doesn't really have that. I think this is very conducive to a nighttime shaver, but it does have some greenness to it and some lightness. It's upbeat. Does it remind me about being on a seaside under a warm sun with surf sounds going on? I think it's within the realm of feasibility for you to be able to use this to take your mind there. It could be that. It could be that. I don't think it's overtly that. I don't think it's obvious, but I think if you want to use it that way, I believe it'll do that for you. So everything's joining up really well. All those notes, the citrus and then the seasoning like the rosemary, and we also got the driftwood, the amber, and the musk. They're all playing together really nicely. Not able to, and they're playing together in a hidden kind of way. to where you're not as able to pick out some of the notes individually. I like it. Definitely gonna put some more tries on it. Yeah. Green aquatic. That is a good, apt, pleasant green aquatic. Fresh green aquatic might be kind of how it doesn't jump to me to be relaxed. Relaxed doesn't really stand out when I'm smelling it, but fresh, green, aquatic, all definitely do that. And yeah, all right. Well, there's the scent evaluation portion of today. And yeah, it didn't really dissipate very much. The slickness is still very, very there. Yep. All right. All right, old open comb. So I didn't really want to use this razor. Just got it in a couple days ago. And I didn't want to use this razor with the Nacet because, you know, it's not really a good evaluation of the razor to use it with such an old blade right away. And so I wanted to wait until I kind of had a newer blade, get a better impression of it. But today, when I realized, and I did the math, that I would probably choose to use this blade every day and then be able to hit 300 during the lather games. I'm getting some tenderness down there, probably relating to the rash. Got a little slickness right there. How about we put that on there? Yeah, some of you guys may be kind of thinking the obvious, like, well, dude, you're shaving with a really old blade that almost nobody ever does. You know, have you infected yourself by that? Well, it's a possibility, I guess. But that is below my shaving area. Now, I do probably shave that area a little bit as I try to come in below the bottom of the hairline and then come up. But I believe it mainly is in this crease right here. And I definitely don't shave in that crease. Pretty much never. I don't think I ever go down that far. So I don't think it's related to that. We'll see. We shall see. So I'm going to find some alcohol and stuff, and we'll kind of swish the blade around in there, just in case microscopically the edge of the blade has some dents or divots or holes that you know, some bacteria could possibly get into, and I don't want to be scraping bacteria across my face. And so then soaking it in the alcohol for a little while then would hopefully take care of that. Maybe I need to order some barbicide. Never used that before. Well, my face feels great. I've got no irritation. I just did 4 passes. I think I probably can scrape together enough lather to do a 5th pass if I wanted. Let me do a good, I think I definitely need to do a neck pass. My face is actually pretty good. You know, shave is actually pretty good. Now, I'm having fun with this lather. Let's go ahead and do another pass just for grins. I did notice that as I was plucking the thicker fibers out of this brush earlier, did notice there are a good many of the tips are actually splitting. Now, as you can see, we've got a good bit of lather that just came out of the brush, and we still got some in the bowl. So we can kind of go old school as if we used a can of goo. Just kind of spread this stuff around. And then get out. Let's do a little field work here. This is wetter than I might normally like it. So I believe I did push it a little too hard. But this is just an example of how good a soap it is. It's too wet, but it's doing the job. I am very protected My neck, my skin is very slick, even when it's been watered down too much. All right. Probably don't need to do my cheeks, but why not? And let's actually do maybe a little bit of an upswing to them when I can, and see if maybe we can get them super smooth. A little bit of a coming from my earlobe up toward my eyes there, a little bit of a slant to it. And so I had this razor, like I was saying, and I didn't want to use it with the Nacet because of the bad feel I might get, the inaccurate impression. But then I realized, hey, if I want to shave with this Nacet consecutively for the next, 2.5 months, then you might as well go ahead and use it. Because I don't want to be sitting staring at this razor for that long, not using it at all. There we go. Maybe the rash likes having a little bit of soap on it. Clean it up in case there's something bad in there. And that's actually given me a really good looking cut. Considering it's a mild razor, oh yeah, we've got the Fine Splash coming up here too. Forgot about that. Okay, so full rinse. All right, rinsed out the brush. Gave him a good vigorous stropping on the towel. Even doing some circular motions, because I'm starting to think, based on some conversations I've had, that the wet-dry cycle of boar breaking in is good, but I think just a vigorous workout is also good too. And so the face lathers kind of definitely get that because of all the work they have to do. Now you see me, I still do a good bit of work, but the face lathers do a lot of work on that initial pass where you've still got the stubble going on. And with me, that's a little bit more reduced since I spread it out more. So I spent some time holding the towel kind of still, doing round things, up and down things, just whatever I could kind of come up with. There are tons of those blocky hairs in this knot, but there are also some that are splitting, so it's very cool. And I think this was a little more comfortable. So it'll be very interesting to see as I keep snipping out some of those hairs. Here, let me show you how I do it. I take a chunk and I pull it out to the side and I look for something blocky. Let's pretend like, I bet I can find one. They're not, oh yeah, there we go. You can look up at the top of the tips. Okay, there's one right there, and kind of pull the clump down and try to isolate it. Sometimes it takes a little bit. And there we go, we've got one fiber right there, and I kind of pull it down as far as I can to where it's sticking out the side of the knot. Holding it with my pinky there. And then I come in to the side of the knot with the scissors like this, and then just snip. This one's actually not one, so I didn't actually cut it. But that's how I do it. And so you, even if it's in the center, even if you've dug through and you're pulling a center one over, I still pull it out the side. And then that way you can cut it low enough to where it's never going to contact your face, never going to scratch you or anything. So I'm encouraged. I think that'll help that brush to be more comfortable more quickly. All right, it's time for the Fine Aquamarine Splash. Fine Classic Aftershave is an elegantly formulated throwback to a time before men's shaving was refashioned into dermatology. Apply liberally for a remarkable after-shaving sensation that delightfully exceeds the sum of its parts. All right. 36 months is the shelf life. I like the look of the bottle. I really do like that. It does come out slowly, so that's good. I was using Aqua Velva Musk, and holy cow, that stuff just pours out, even if you try to get just a little bit. Getting a little bit of sting. All right. A little bit of sting and still remaining resident. Doesn't feel quite as strong as Stirling. Something about Stirling is stronger, maybe higher alcohol content, higher fragrance oil content. I'm not exactly sure. This doesn't feel quite that bad. Now I'm starting to getting a little bit of those fumes, coming up to my eyes and kind of making them feel weird and mentholated. Oh, the citrus. Oh, I can smell that sweet orange very clearly. Now, here's a cool thing. With the chiseled face aftershaves and the Stirling aftershaves, or the chiseled face ones that have the menthol. The menthol actually gets in the way of me actually smelling the scent for quite some time. But right here, it's not. So that's cool. I instantly smell the sweet orange. And a hint of a little bit of the herbiness of the rosemary. And woodiness. I'm getting the woodiness. So some of the scent notes are definitely coming across more. I will have to maybe put it on in the morning. And I'm starting to feel a little bit more of the kind of the burning sensation of the menthol. It's not quite as bad as some. I got a feeling this will be kind of tolerable. It's not as bad as the chiseled face. I could see this being refreshing in the morning. That's cool. All right, so in the morning I'll pop some on just like I did just there, and then maybe observe how the scent goes. That is very interesting. The sweet aspects are really jumping out. The green aspects are not as dominant in the aftershave as they are the soap. I don't know which element the greenness would be. Maybe the algae, the oak moss. That's all I could think of. Not picking up as much of the musk, although I'm sure it's there as an accent. Amber, maybe not so much. Neat. How about that? It still feels a little burny, but all right. Now, oh, that's a good, nice close cut on the cheeks. What did I do? 5 passes? I think I did do 5 passes. There are a few hairs with some length, but even that mild razor was able to take care of business nicely. So, winner chicken dinner. I don't know because of all, and here's the thing, it was never tuggy. Yeah, it took more passes to do it, but it was never tuggy, so it's more comfortable way to use this blade in its old age. No doubt, so good because of that clamping down. And support from the bottom is obviously support from the top. Wolfman Geurilla Open Comb. How about that? I believe the firm grip, the majority of razors that I enjoy have that firm grip on the blade, close to the edge as possible. And I think that might be why I'm able to go as long as I am with these blades. It really might be. Maybe there's less flexing, and so it's dulling it less, because if you're trying to move across something, if you do it consistently, that's one thing. But if microscopically you're vibrating as you move across because you're not getting support from the bottom. You're not getting the clamping down from the bottom. Then as you're moving across, if you're vibrating, then sometimes you're pressing harder into the surface than you need to be, even though other times you're kind of maybe lifting off of it a little bit. But as you vibrate, you're pressing in and out and in and out. It's just a theory. It really is. Yeah, I like this scent. If you wanted to mix it with something, you can mix it with something woody. I know it would go well with that. Ozone. No, this one doesn't have the ozone. That was the Tre Matras, I think, from yesterday. Yeah. I like it. The woodiness with the orange. And then a little bit of spice. Hint of musk, citrus. I'm a fan. I think I'm going to keep this guy around. I'm going to clean up. All right, I believe we're looking at 5 teaspoons of water. I believe I refilled this twice. Well, technically 3 times, and then this is the 3rd that hasn't been fully used. So that would be 5 teaspoons of water. And I loaded for 20 seconds with the Boar brush. In retrospect, if I was using this same razor, I would load for another 10 seconds to get more lather because I knew that I'd be wanting to do more passes. But if I were to use a more aggressive razor where I know that 3.5 passes is going to take care of business, then this 20-second load would have been plenty. All right, well, I think that might have been the 23rd use of the Stirling brush, so we are bringing it up to speed with the rest of them, just to watch how it behaves as they grow. Everything's reporting pretty much the same. The Omega that I have that looks kind of like this, it's splitting. The tips are splitting a lot more, and actually it's less uses. It's half as many uses. I think it's got 14 or 15 uses, where this one is 23 now. And its tips are splitting a lot more. This has more backbone. This is keeping its shape a little more. And so I think I may actually like this one better once the tips really get to splitting in a big way. The Omega has a lot of loft and flex, but the Simogs that I have and the Zeniths that I have in my Borathon, all these brushes that I'm using at the same time, at the same rate, both of those 2 groups are very comfortable and have been pretty much from the beginning. It's possible as they split, they may get too soft or too flexible. Some people definitely think they're a little too flexible. But I used my 1800 yesterday and it was so light and it felt so good on my face. You don't have to always have density. And I really enjoy them. And so I'm definitely going to yank some of those Simog knots out and put them in other handles if I can. So that's coming along well. The menthol burn is gone now, so I'm not really smelling too much on me at the moment, but you can also maybe get desensitized to it a little bit, but I can smell it on my hands if I want to get a whiff of it. Really happy with the open comb Guerilla. Very happy with that. Happy with the scent of the Aquamarine. It is a little bit different and enjoyable. Doesn't smell like just a kind of a pre-made, shower gel from Old Spice or Dove or whatever you might find in the big box stores in the shower gels area. It does smell crafted. It does smell on purpose. I think I like it. Yeah, there we go. I think that's most of the things. So we'll see if the Nacet will last until the end of the Lather Games. And it's the day before the 29th. That's the day before the end. And so if I have one mistake where I am not able to shave for that day, I've got one day, and then I can still end within the Lather Games, the last day of the Lather Games. So I've got one grace day if I need to use that. But I mean, it's just shaving. So if I miss it, I miss it. It's not the end of the world, but it would be cool. I will have to get some barbicide or alcohol or something and sanitize my blade. I think I will do that just for safety. All right, well, there we go. So we had some Lather Games announcements. And like I said, just with this shave, if you want to participate, you can participate in as little as you want just to be a part of it. And knowing that you're really not going to win anything because you're not racking up a lot of points, but you're just participating on maybe a few days, and that's all. And that's okay. That's what it's there for. But you can get yourself a Reddit username and then go over to Wet Shaving. I gave you the URL earlier. And you can be watching for the Lather Games and announcements and things like that. And you can plan your schedule. There's an Excel, Google Docs spreadsheet that's on the announcements page, and that'll tell you what different themes are for each day. Sometimes there's one that's aquatic. There's one that's like super old. There's one that's vetiver or something dirty. There's other ones. Well, last year there was one where it had to be an animal in the name, and so that worked for Noble Otter. And who else? I can't remember. Oh yeah, Holy Cow. So there's some different ones. Certain days for like most popular vendor used on the subreddit. Barrister and Man, I believe, is the most popular one. So you just use a Barrister and Man soap, whether you get a sample or if you have a full tub, a partial tub or whatever, you can do that. And some of those samples you can order from Maggard Razors and have them delivered to you. There was one that was any soap that you've been gifted. So different themes. All right. Well, participate if you want to. I have enjoyed the camaraderie and stuff from past years, and this will be my third time participating. All right. Well, there we go. This is Sugar Daddy Shaves, and I sure hope there's been something in this video that is going to help you out. And even if it's shaving with a mild razor and an old blade, we got it done, and it was comfortable. That's the thing. Next time, maybe I'll think, well, I could use this more aggressive razor, have a little bit of tugging on that first pass, but then it'll be smooth. But it'll be 3.5 passes, where this one is more like 5 passes. For more comfort, no tugging on that first pass. So, 6 of one, half a dozen of the other. You can pick your pleasure. So, all right. You guys take care. We'll see you next time. Good night.